Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Build the Culture. I'm Seth Harrison. I got my partner, Thomas Hardy, and a very special guest, Jesse Hernandez.
What's up, guys?
Man, what is going on?
Y'all know I'm just here slacking off, trying to make it look like I'm busy with all my posts.
Man,
that's what we do every day, isn't it?
I gotta say, we're pretty blessed here having two OGs back to back. Like we're gonna blow up after this. We got Jen, and now we got Jesse. I mean, we're in. We're like maybe we just stop the podcast because it's just things are just gonna get too crazy after this.
So you're saying we can stop work after this? We can just do podcasts from here on out?
Yeah. We'll take a split.
I mean, once this drops with Jesse, we're done.
Yeah,
we're setting in. I'm gonna order the yacht tonight.
Nice. The same. Is it gonna be similar to Zuckerberg's, the one y'all saw down in San Diego?
No, it'll be about the size of his propeller. So it'll be a really small one. But I mean, we all have goals.
It's a model yacht. All right, Jesse. Model yacht.
Got it.
It doesn't float. It just stays in a little glass case.
Yeah, he's going to put it in one of the glass bottles. So build it all inside of it. So today, we want to talk about motivating our people, and Jesse, I feel like you could probably speak to that pretty well.
It's a big. I'll say two things that first come to mind. One, like in relationship to like the purpose of your podcast and the title of your podcast, right? Build the culture. Motivation's a big deal, right?
It's
it's huge. And I guess the one maybe to like get some clarity, because if not, I'll just be here for 10 hours.
Which is fine.
We got all day. We have all day.
What be the most valuable for your listeners? Intrinsic motivation or extrinsic motivation?
You lost me with intrinsic and extrinsic.
I'm gonna need a definition.
Can you please send? We went over the show notes before this, right? I mean, we talked about.
Can I get origin of the word, please?
Construction superintendents, and we're not well educated.
Yeah. So
keep going.
So intrinsic, like internally self-motivated, right? There are things in my crazy head that drive me to do the things with the intensity that I do them. Extrinsic motivation is the things that are outside of me: compensation, pay, rewards. Like, so that's kind of the difference of intrinsic and extrinsic. It's like inside and outside. Where's my motivation coming from?
Okay, so let's do this. Let's start with in and work our way out.
Ooh.
There you go.
Well, so when it comes to like the internal motivation, y'all are going to be able to answer this with more clarity, right?
We're just going to sit here and let you talk the entire time. We don't say anything after this.
That was actually in the show notes. Let Jesse talk the entire time.
All my exes say, Jesse, the only reason you started a podcast was because you love the sound of your own voice. And I'm like, well, yeah, of course.
I mean, I love it. So that's why you're here.
Your voice. Yes, your voice.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk about intrinsic, and we'll use y'all as the case study, right? Like, why did y'all decide to launch this podcast? Because it's work. Y'all know it's a lot of work. We're talking about having a bank of episodes and scheduling and the whole thing. Why did you start it, and why haven't you given up?
I mean, I'll go first, Seth.
Go ahead.
I mean, we still do just about, I mean, for now, like right now, driving home from work every day from this job site is about a 2-hour drive in traffic.
Mm.
And so Seth and I would just talk every day on the drive home. When I was driving home, we'd be talking. It was about the same time he was leaving, and he had about a 45-minute drive home. And then he'd go to the gym, and we'd still talk while he was working out at the gym.
Wow.
But it was just a very fluid talk that we had, and we always had different things to talk about. We were talking about the job site, talking about the issues that we're having. We were talking about the different solutions to the problems that we were having. And it was just a very natural flow that we had. And so one day we were like, well, shoot, why don't we just go for it? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And it was just, we were talking about it and we talked about it for a while. It was 3 or 4 months of us just talking about doing this podcast. And then finally, I think Seth has a little bit of time to do some research of how to do the podcast, like where to post it, like how to
Yep.
get the right microphones, how to get the right headphones. And then he was like, "Hey, here it is. Here's all the information
This
you
is it.
need. Go order it, get it done, and we will record a podcast." And then we had this stuff for, I don't know, about 2 weeks, and we were kind of going back and forth and when we were going to do it. And finally one day I was like, "Man, like next Thursday, let's record it. Let's get it out there. Let's be vulnerable. Let's go do it." And it's been fun, and that's kind of how it all kind of just really started. And it was once you get it going, it's easy. But that first few episodes is
that's work.
Stuff, and the motivation is hard.
Yes. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper than that. So for me, and whenever we were having our conversations, it kind of just everything that I've been through, within my short career, same with Thomas's, it's there's an issue out there where culture on job sites just isn't what it could be, should be, what we would like it to be. And where we came in, or where my head's at is, with this, however many people listen to it, great, fantastic. But what I hope in the end is by the time we leave this industry, we've made it a little bit better than what we came into it.
Yeah. That's
very
amazing.
much so.
So those are examples of intrinsic motivation, right? Spotify didn't call you up and say, "Hey guys, I got $500,000 for each of you if you start a
That'd
podcast."
be nice.
That would be an extrinsic motivator. Y'all, because of what I'm hearing, is like underneath is the camaraderie between the two of you, contributing and leaving a contribution to the industry, right? Sharing experience, passing knowledge and experience on. All of those things are intrinsic motivators. And so some people have a lot of that. Crazy people like us have a lot of that intrinsic, internal motivation. There's something that's burning inside of us that we cannot just do the minimum. And there's a lot of times that I wish that I would be okay with the minimum because I've worked myself to death, right? And so some folks are okay with the minimum. And I want to clarify, if we think about it in the workspace, they're okay with the minimum in the workspace because they got some other amazing thing that they're doing outside of their job, with their community, with their family.
Right.
And so the motivator for them to like connect to the work and produce and those things, it's extrinsic. They're going to get paid. They're going to get maybe some incentives, maybe some raises, like maybe some career growth, ideally all of the above. And that's why they do the things. And so if we confine it to the workspace, it's a little bit easier, right? Because we could really see the difference between people that are internally motivated and externally motivated. And like, I think if people were going to try to figure out, like, okay, well, how do I motivate them, right? Well, I think we've probably all been guilty of saying, well, they're just not motivated. I need people that give a shit. Like, okay, what does that look like?
But you want to understand their needs is kind of what you're talking about.
You got to understand what drives them, right? You got to. So back to culture. You guys are superintendents on projects. Y'all set the tone. So y'all have like the perfect seat and are responsible for creating the culture that is on your project. And so part of like making that a rich, we'll say welcoming culture is investing the time to understand people and understand what motivates them, right? And the only way to do that is to like be a human and talk to other humans.
Yes.
Like
being vulnerable.
Yep.
And going out there and just kind of and what I like to do is Friday afternoons, I like to go out there and just take the time to actually go meet somebody and talk to somebody who I've never talked to on the job site before, which is, I think, huge when it comes to just getting to know somebody's why and getting, like you're talking about, getting to know their needs, understanding why they're doing it, what they're doing it for, get to know their families and see what their sense of purpose is there for.
Yep.
And you can understand how to not only motivate somebody a little bit more, but also just get, like you said, be a human.
Yeah.
And be a human to somebody else.
Yeah. That I would imagine that comes naturally to both of you guys, because I've spent enough time to know, like, y'all are badass. I'd like to hang out with y'all. So I'm running off y'all's street cred now that I'm going to get to be on your show.
Oh, you want to hang out with us?
Hell yes. Man, that's why I got a selfie with y'all at Congress. Shoot, I forgot what I was going to say. The fact that you guys, the two of you, make that conscious effort to just kind of go talk to people as a superintendent, don't make the mistake of thinking that that's how most people in your position with your level of authority default to. They don't. I'm going to say the large majority do not do that kind of stuff. And they're also the same that complain about the culture and complain about leadership on the project. And when y'all know I'm a plumber from back in the day when I used to work, my favorite thing was to have a GC superintendent come up to me and say, the problem we have here is leadership. And I would be like, yes, sir, I agree.
Yep. And it's you. Not me. It's you.
Yep. No, I agree. We as a whole, encompassing superintendents, don't get out and go make those interpersonal connections with everybody. It's if we could push it out there that it's very important to get to know the people on your site. Like I've probably said this about 1,000 times in each episode, but get out there and know the people, like all the way down to labor, not just your foreman, because that's for most superintendents, that's where the communication stops right there.
Yep.
And honestly, I don't remember if I brought this up whenever we were talking to Jen, but one thing that I'm looking to do, so I follow Jason Schroeder. Shout out if you ever want to be on our podcast, guy. If one of the things that they do are crew huddles. So first thing in the morning, it's lottie-dottie everybody on the job site. I'm looking to do that, and the way they start out every meeting, give shout outs to people, and you can't give shout outs to people if you don't know who they are. And that's something that on my next project I'm going to look to start. So I'll have a crew huddle in the morning. Everybody's there. That way, first thing in the morning, give shout outs to those guys that are really excelling in what they're doing. Be like, hey, man, good job on whatever they did. And then afternoon is the foreman. But that way, they also feel like, man, I'm a part of the bigger picture here, because we're all in here and we're all being addressed.
Yes. Yeah, there's probably some people that are going to listen to this and I don't have enough time to meet everybody on my job. Like, I understand why you're scared. But first, the two things I want to say. First, how much time do you spend BSing, talking about freaking football, talking about the game, talking about the hunting trip, talking about fishing with the same damn person you talk to every day? How much time do you spend complaining about the trades and everybody else? That time would be better used, instead of complaining and talking about some damn fools you've been watching chasing a ball down the field that don't know nothing and don't care about you.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of doing that, go out to the job and meet somebody you don't know. Like, it's not that hard.
Yeah,
we convince ourselves that we're so busy and we're doing so much work all day. I have not met a single human being yet that actually is producing work every hour of every day at work. Not a single one. They all have time to BS and him-haw and surf and doom scroll, but for whatever reason, we don't have time to be a human. So I think that's weak sauce. What do y'all think?
No,
it's not that. Go ahead, Seth.
So that hour, let's call it. I'd say in an average day, BS, and let's call it an hour and a half.
Easy.
You take that hour and a half where you're just BSing with the same folks. You could have, 4 or 5, 15-minute conversations with someone that you haven't talked to on that job site before, right there, and do that the next day. Now, now 10 different people on your job site, and do that for a week. Now 25 to 30 people.
Yes.
Easily.
Just like that.
Yeah. It's just got to be a priority for people. Like for y'all, it is. For other people, it ain't. Now, the other thing I want to say about motivation, because like for real, yes, I'm a huge advocate on vulnerability and connection and authenticity and all of those things, psychological safety. I'm a huge advocate for it. But I'm not a freaking like softy powder puff, right? Motivation, the tactical. So if for whoever's listening that struggles with the go meet somebody, that's fluffy stuff, really you just don't know how to play the long game. So if all you know how to play is the short game, it's about consequences. And when I talk about consequences, I'm not talking about consequences with a negative tone on it. I'm talking about consequences with a neutral tone, meaning there is a positive and negative response to a certain behavior or action. Those are consequences. When people are demonstrating compliance and doing what's supposed to be done, the positive consequence of that is recognition. Like you just said, Seth, in the huddle, you have the big banger huddle with everybody there. You call somebody's name and say, man, I want to recognize so-and-so. I saw him picking up trash in the parking lot. That's badass. That's the kind of behavior and leadership we want on this job. That's a positive consequence. Yep. When you see me get out of the truck, throwing my McDonald's wrapper on the floor, and you don't say anything about it, I have no motivation not to do that again.
Exactly.
Yep. But if you tell me, hey, fool, like you need to pick up your trash and continue doing that because next time the consequences are going to be more severe, then my behavior is going to change. Then I'm motivated to change my behavior. But if there's no consequence, positive or negative, to my actions and behaviors, and I'm an extrinsically motivated person, who cares, right? I mean, I'm sure y'all have been on a project at least once on a team in your career where you're busting, right? You're working head down, making stuff happen, and there's the suck up, the whiny boy, the scrub that gets away with murder.
Yep.
How does that make you feel?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's not something that you like to see on a job.
No.
Right. No. Is that motivating?
No.
And it's hitting kind of close to home because that just happened 2 projects ago for me.
A little too soon for you, Seth?
A little too soon.
And going back to what you're saying, Jesse, is not only like in daily huddles, there's a lot of, they're good. You get everybody together, you start talking about your day, start talking about stuff like that. But then there's also what I've seen on a lot of projects is you see a lot of negative tone in those huddles. It's a lot of, hey, don't do this, don't do this, don't do that, go over here, you can't go over there, you can't do this. And there's not a whole lot of positive energy coming out of those.
Yep.
And to go back to what you said at the beginning, like we're the ones who set the tone for the job.
Yep.
So, and that just not for the whole job holistically, but it's the day to day too.
Yep.
So if you're in those huddles or anytime during those huddles, you're just constantly berating and saying, hey, I saw so-and-so throw trash on the ground. Or I saw, so-and-so left a bunch of trash everywhere around the job site. We didn't clean up the night before. We didn't put our ladders away. But you don't positively recognize some of those trades in that huddle. You're just going to create a negative tone out there in the job site. Yeah, you're not going to create the positive tone, the positive energy that you want in the field throughout the day. Because not only does that make everybody feel better for themselves as humans, but they also perform better. They
Yes.
do better work. The quality of work is better. They tend to work a lot faster. They tend to do more stuff.
Yes.
So it's not just the whole, bashing of everything else, but it's also the positive and the motivation to it.
Yep.
Huddle, like people that are coming into the last planner system that, are just starting out, that have done everything the old way for so long, and they're starting this out and they get these daily huddles, and then they just see that as an opportunity for, hey, I got a 15-minute bitch fest every
Yes.
morning, and then your guys don't want to show up anymore.
Yep.
No.
And
Yeah,
nobody likes to know they're going to the principal's office because they're going to be in trouble.
You know how many exes I have that would ask me, why don't you ever come home? It's like, because you're nagging at me all the time. Like, that's why.
Holy.
Nobody wants to go to a place where they know without a doubt that they're going to be getting their ass chewed. And here's what's worse, like for me, because
that's just human nature.
Right? Like nobody wants that. Nobody says, man, after Thanksgiving on Friday, I want to go somewhere where I'm just going to get yelled at for something other freaking people did.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this goes back to, now we're kind of getting into performance management. When I hear leaders making generalized statements about one person or one group's behavior, my respect for you is going down.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, we'll just use me as an example. If my habit is to leave the room that I was working in full of scraps and material and not swept up and just leave my garbage behind, I fully expect for somebody to say, hey, Jesse, this is not acceptable, and so forth. But when I go to that huddle and the superintendent's up there doing their, whatever, being a leader from their perspective and telling everybody, y'all need to stop leaving your trash. You need to clean as you go. Nothing hits the ground. Wah, wah, wah. And I know I'm the only one that's leaving a mess. He's a coward because he's generalizing one person's behavior and applying it to the rest of the group, thinking, I don't know, two birds with one stone. But really, I'm off the hook because all he's doing, he's going to keep nagging at me forever. He's never going to do anything about it. And he's never going to address me directly. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, the other side, and that for the people, the high performers, the people that are complying and doing what's supposed to be done, you're wasting their damn time by not stepping up and having the one-on-one conversation with me and by generalizing your statement. Another example of this is, okay, the meeting starts at 3, the huddle starts at 3. Well, let's give them a couple of more minutes. You got 6 people there, 2 people are running late. Like, hello, you're punishing the people that are doing the right thing to accommodate the people that don't care or they don't care to do the right thing because they're not there. They didn't make the necessary steps and actions so they could be there on time.
You're wasting their time.
You're wasting
the time of the people who were there. And it goes back to what you're talking about. Like you want to start on time and end on time. And it's always with meetings and everything like that because of what you're saying. The people who are actually the ones who are willing to do it the right way.
Yep.
Recognize them, make them feel like they are doing the right thing and not waiting on somebody who's showing up late.
Yes. You're rewarding the wrong behavior.
Yes.
And a lot of times, nobody's doing that on purpose necessarily, but that's what's happening. And so back to what you were saying, Thomas, it's like, sure, a butt chewing has value, but not everybody responds to a butt chewing. I don't. You can threaten me. I don't call my mom, whatever. You want to get me to do something? Feed my ego or give me food, right? Or sweets, right? Seth and I were talking before. Like, that's the way to get something out of me. We're all motivated by different things. Now, when we leverage, the leverage, right? The amount of leverage we get from positive reinforcement is far greater than negative reinforcement. When you have a method, system, discipline, habit to recognize the behaviors, the ones you want to see over and over again, you start tapping into that discretionary effort from your people, from your team, meaning they will do more because it feels good to be appreciated.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, you can look at yourself, look at your own life. You talk about doom scrolling earlier. The reason why a lot of people doom scroll is because it creates a brain chemistry in your
Yes.
brain, your chemistry in your brain
Yes.
to keep you going and keep you doing it, because it's keeping you motivated to do it, because it's a positive thing. You look at the news nowadays, if you want to take it outside of work, nobody watches the news anymore because it's all negative. And nobody wants to see that and be sitting in front of a TV and see that all the bad stuff that's happening.
Right.
Nobody from our generation wants to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So it's a whole nother culture and generation that's coming into the job site, into the industry, that we got to find out different ways how to, like you said, motivate, and how to make them do more for what they want to do.
Yep.
Yeah. Are either one of you gamers?
No, I am.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you like me, where you can game until like 3 or 4 in the morning and say, "Oh crap, I got to get up in an hour"?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
That sounds terrible.
I could.
Oh, it's awesome. You don't even know, Thomas.
Thankfully, I have a wife that helps me. So I say, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. It's 11:30.
Yeah.
I could be at work in a few hours. What is going on behind you, Seth?
They're cleaning out stuff in the warehouse. So
sounds like they're having a party back there.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Invite them.
Hopefully we start remodeling the sucker soon.
That would be nice.
Yeah. But, so social media and video games. Thomas, you talked about it, right? Like the dopamine hit from social media is similar, or maybe that design is based on observations from video games. The reason I know that video games will suck me in, certain kind, not all of them, is because the feedback loop is super tight, right? Now, and I came up back in the day when it was Nintendo, NES, Duck Hunt, and these sorts of games, right? Not the super amazing, awesome 3D multiplayer that we have now. But anyways, basically every single game, the time span between you engaging and having a signal back that you did the right thing to gain points, to level up, to do whatever, is less than a minute. And so it happens over and over. There's these feedback loops. So you're playing and you shoot somebody, or you beat this little thing, or accumulate coins, or whatever it is. Okay. And there's visual signals, there's audible signals telling you that you're doing the right thing. Keep doing them. And then the challenge increases. So there you go, right? Now my feedback loop is tightening. I'm getting a signal that I'm advancing and growing and getting better. Then there's the end of the stage challenge, right? And you beat that boss. You're like, okay, I got better. And so the point of that is, all through that, from when I turn the damn thing on, my feedback loop on I'm doing the right things is super, super, super tight, which keeps me hypnotized to continue receiving that feedback loop, right? And so some people like to bash this new generation coming in for wanting instant gratification. They're just conditioned to have access to hyper fast, hyper short feedback loops. What's the relationship to that and motivation? It's the feedback loop. Like we just talked about it. When you're walking the project, there are a million excuses to create a super short feedback loop with the people on your project. And what does that mean? Anytime you see people doing the right thing, tell them thank you. Like, they don't have to be lighting the world on fire and being the most amazing freaking thing. They just need to be doing the right thing. They just need to be present for you to say, hey man, good to see you. Right? Like, that's us. What's the word? Intentionally shortening up those feedback loops, because y'all know this. Those trade workers out there, they don't get a lot of feedback. Rather, the only feedback they typically get is when they're not performing, when they're getting their butts chewed. So they don't get performance reviews. If you got to wait a quarter for a performance review, that's not easy. That sucks. If I got to wait a week That's better, way better. If I'm going to get recognized, there's potential for me to be recognized at the weekly huddle, whatever. That's awesome. If I'm going to get recognized one time in the morning at the big huddle, okay, now the feedback loop is getting tighter. And I start feeling like a little bit more motivated. And then if I know, man, I could get positive reinforcement all day, any time of the day, that feedback loop keeps tightening up. And so when it comes to motivation, understanding what people respond to, knowing this concept of consequences and the leverage from positive reinforcement, then the challenge is on us as leaders to find every freaking excuse to shorten up that feedback loop so we can build that little addiction hypnosis for people to do the right thing. Is that too complicated?
No, I mean, that's a great way to put it. I never thought about putting video games to being a superintendent and how both of them correlate to motivate before. You got my wheels turning left and right now, trying to figure out how I can implement that into my daily process of, just walking the job, just saying thank you to a lot more people than what I normally do, and just say and be more precise to it to kind of help what you're talking about, that motivation, that feedback, and getting them just more motivated, more happy.
I think step 2 would be, whenever you're going to, go talk to that person that you haven't talked to on the job site before, go a little bit further and maybe ask them, like, hey, show me what you're doing, and like let them show you what, and then after done, hey, good job, shit.
That's it, dude. That's huge. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. One of the things, y'all got to see my presentation there in San Diego, right? And so this was amazing. And this is my proof. That's part of the system, right? That sweat equity things. Like, okay, we're going to observe work. We're not going to be judgmental. We're not going to be critical. We're just going to observe it and study it so we can make it better. And then we go back out and we share with the install team to say, hey guys, this is what we saw. This looks like it sucks. Thank you for tolerating what you're tolerating. We want to make it better for you. And the guy, he was the QC manager for the trade contractor. He had his discussion with his team that he was studying. And afterwards, we were in the trailer debriefing. I said, how'd it go? And he was like, dude, I suck. I'm like, okay, what happened? He said, man, my team, they were like super grateful that we were even asking them about their work, like even talking to them. The guy told him, I've been here 8 years. Nobody has ever asked me about what's hard about my work. Yeah. And so for him, it was a moment of conviction. But back to your point, Thomas, it's that, or I'm sorry, Seth, you were saying it, right? Is tell me what you're doing. What's hard about it? Yeah, man, that doesn't look like it's easy. Is there you got any ideas? Is there something you can do to make it a little better? Is there something I can do to help? Like that is huge. And it sounds trivial, but and especially for folks that come and work on like Scows Group's jobs, because y'all are a different animal totally than most general contractors.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, for real. Because I came up to the trades and I worked with a lot of dirt bag GCs. Like I can say that because I told them that in the foreman meetings. But anyways, what you can't see is those folks, those men and women that come to your job sites that work on y'all's projects. They spend the majority of their career working on other projects where they're treated like garbage. And so that small deposit of connecting with them and recognize and listen, like letting them talk more than you, it's a game changer. It's a different universe. Small, but freaking gigantic.
Absolutely. So, while we're talking, factors that over the years that we've learned about, one of those things is short attention spans, Jesse. So one of the things we try to do is keep ourselves around 30 minutes.
Okay.
Short attention spans.
How long have we been going for?
We're almost at 35.
Oh,
damn!
Wow.
Yeah, it went by quick. I was just like, I looked down, I went, oh. So that is one thing we do. But before we leave, should have done this at the beginning, Jesse. Honestly, but man, tell us a little bit about Depth Builder for the people that don't know, and where to find you and everything.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that. So Depth Builder, that's my little business that I started about 2 years and 8 months ago. I help construction companies improve production in the field and in the office. And I take a 100% people first focus. So if we're not going to be focusing on making it better for the people that are doing the work, I am not your person.
Yeah.
I'm on the LinkedIn. Y'all know I kind of live on LinkedIn. I've got the website, depthbuilder.com.
Link in bio.
Link in bio. Yeah, we'll get the link in bio.
Make sure you click on it.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to have to remember to put it in there.
Yeah, don't forget.
Thanks.
It's out there.
Thanks,
now.
Thomas.
I mean, we've only forgot to put our link to our website a few times in ours. So just
don't worry about it.
Just make sure it's in the link.
I got a whole copy paste thing on our Trello now, so I don't forget.
We're getting better at this.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I mean.
So, go ahead.
I was going to say thanks to Jesse. I mean, this is fantastic.
Absolutely, that's what I was about to say.
I'm going to have to say, this is the fastest 35 minutes of my life. Because I feel like I blinked and it was 30. Seth is over here like, hey guys,
we're over here.
We've been going too long.
Learning new words.
Yes, we did learn 2 new words today. And I did not say we should do a part 2. So I learned my lesson last time.
Thank you, Thomas. But no,
but there might
Jesse,
be a part 2 in the future with Jesse, because I would like to have Jesse back on.
Well, let's not call it a part 2, but no, Jesse, you're absolutely 100% invited back as long as you want to join. Hell yeah.
Let's do it.
Love it. So we gave Jen the honors on signing us off last time. Are you familiar with how we end it?
I'm not. No.
Oh, so you haven't finished an episode yet?
No, I'm like
short attention spans. Short attention spans.
Email, right? If I have to scroll to read an email or read a post, I ain't scrolling. Like it's got to be right there.
I'm right there with you.
I'm first 10 minutes. Next.
Yep. See the short attention spans. We're
exactly.
Right.
So we just need to start posting like the clips of the end of our podcast, so people can see how we end them.
Real quick,
we're really good at it, Jesse. I'm not gonna lie. Probably the best in the whole podcast industry.
Nice.
We have the best way how to end these episodes.
Yeah. All so Jen got to do the honors last time. You'll get to see. Well, obviously you're about to see it now, but you'll see it because whenever next Thursday. Right now we're keeping it secret that Jen was on, just we kind of keep it a secret that you were on.
Oh.
No, I didn't show her face. Nothing.
I was gonna say you're about to release the secret, but by the time people hear this, they've already seen that Jen's on it.
They've already seen the episode. So, anyways, next Thursday, how she ended it, that's what I'm gonna post to reveal right before it posts on Friday.
Nice.
So, trying to
a little teaser.
Like, who are they gonna have on? So, anyways, so after I get done talking here, Jesse, just stare at the screen blankly and don't say anything, and then I'm going to hit stop recording. Okay. So
it's very easy.
It's very, very easy. On the next episode of Build the Culture, just like that.